So you want to learn how to train your upper body in the best possible way and how to make your upper body as strong as possible. Well, today I'm going to take you through some of the best gymnastics rings exercises that you can do, and specifically to get that all-elusive first baseline skill on the gymnastics rings, the muscle up. And make sure you stick around to the end, because I'm going to reveal the biggest mistake that people make when doing any upper body workouts. All that and more coming up.
We are the gym that teaches people how to move instead of just exercise, because we believe that health is about performance, not just body image.
Hey everyone, in case we haven't met, my name's Rad Burmeister. I'm one of the co-founders of Unity Gym and the co-creators of the UMS, the Unified Movement System, formerly known as the FMS, the Foundation Movement System, where we teach you how to nourish and move instead of just diet and exercise. And today, as Friday, as always, is a very big show because we really wrap up the whole topic of the week. And if you've been following us this week, we've been talking about shoulder conditioning and how to rehabilitate your shoulders, but go through phases of rehabilitation into shoulder conditioning, so strengthening the shoulders. And now we're way out of rehab, and now we're into the ultimate strength training protocols for the upper body, which is the gymnastics rings. And the very first skill to master on the gymnastics rings is the strict muscle up. That's the number one skill that we want beginners to learn, people that can't do it yet and that are wanting to get into advanced shoulder conditioning and gymnastics ring training. And today, for our Friday Frenzy, we have our Muscle Up Masterclass program for half price with a whole bunch of extras added to it. It is the best upper body strength training program you're going to find. We have 3 periodized programs for beginners who can't yet do pull-ups to get you to the point of doing a pull-up, and 3 periodized programs for advanced people to get you to multiple muscle-ups. So even if you can do 1 or 2 muscle-ups, this program is going to take you to being able to do multiple sets of multiple muscle-ups. It's very, very good. If you want to get it, the link is going to be in the description. It's just for our subscribers. It's a subscriber-only offer. So, all that said, again, as always, please sing out to me. Let me know where you're watching from. Put a little comment in there. Show us some love. I'll give you a shout out. And make sure you hit the like button, please. It does so much for us. So if you love this channel, if you love our shows, always just hit the like button. It only takes 2 seconds, and leave a little comment. So who have we got here? Quack. Thanks for tuning in, brother. And yes, my brain feels frazzled this week from doing all these shows by myself. It's bloody hard talking to the camera like this, especially when you're not a trained talk show host like me. So anyway, thanks for tuning in, bro. And so good to hear that you're making such good progress with the pancake. And who else have we got? Gregory McCarran Jr. I don't need help with the rings. Need to figure out weaknesses and imbalances in the pectoral and scapular issue. I'll talk about that towards the end of the show. If you want to give me a more specific question, brother, I will answer you in great detail towards the end of the show after I've done this routine. And morning, Pharaoh. All right. Let's get out on the gym floor, everyone, and let's have a look at this kick-ass routine. You ready to go, Richie? Yep. All right. So, this isn't so much, well, it is a routine, but it's more so really the 3 exercises that we use on the gymnastics rings. This is like, if someone can do pull-ups, and if someone's strong and they don't have any issues in their body and they say, man, I can't do a muscle up, what do I need to do? These are the 3 skills that you need to get, that you need to master. For those of you that need a little bit more than that, there's a lot more that goes into a muscle up than just this, and that's what our Muscle Up Masterclass does. It takes you through absolutely everything that you need to know. But because I'm going to be doing something that is very, very demanding on the shoulders, and because I am recovering from a very bad shoulder injury, a slap tear, the first thing I'm going to do is a little bit of a warm-up. There is absolutely no way I would ever recommend anyone to get straight on the gymnastics rings without doing a warm-up. So what I'm going to do here, this is just a couple of exercises from our UMS warm-up routine that we do for the upper body. So just a small little segment. So I'm just circling my arms in each direction as I go up and down. Now I'm pulsing back and forward. So what I'm doing is I'm just creating strength, or switching on my central nervous system's ability to contract the muscles effectively in all the different positions that the shoulder can go in by, or all the major positions, by creating a little bit of resistance with this band. It's nice and safe. So now I'm going to do some external rotation and some internal rotation. Now I'm going to turn around and do exactly the same thing, except facing towards the rig, so that now I'm training the posterior part of my shoulders. Just doing the exact same thing. I'm pulsing back and forward now. Okay, big circles. This is going to be a big test for my shoulder because I haven't done anything on the gymnastics rings for about 6 months, so we'll see how I go. All right, then we'll just do a little bit for the spine. Never, ever, ever go straight in to advanced strength work without doing some warm-up. I've just finished a big lower body strength training session, so my body's not dead cold. I'm kind of just re-warming up, but shoulders, neck, and spine are absolutely crucial for this. Okay, and then a little bit of wrist, a couple of wrist circles. And now, first thing before you do anything on the gymnastics rings is how to chalk your hands. So what I'm going to do, put a little bit of chalk on my palms, like that. Then I'm going to get a bit of chalk, put it on the top of my hand, like that. Okay, and then I'm going to get a little bit of chalk and put it down on my wrist, down there like that. And those are the areas where you really need it. Okay, so the first, there's really, as I said, there's 3 skills we're going to go through here today. The first one is called a ring turned out hold, an RTO hold. And at the most basic level, what you're going to do is just try and put your weight in your arms like this. Okay, and the goal is to just depress your shoulders and push your arms down. But what you're really aiming for is to be able to turn the hands out. So, like that. Okay, in gymnastics, they actually pull their arms forward like this when they do it. I like to try to retract my scapula when I do it, but that's just because the arms want to go forward. So I always like to pull back against the rings. The reason why the gymnastics rings are the best apparatus to train your upper body. It's the most advanced way of training your upper body, and they're really, it's our favorite tool for it, is that the rings go where you're weakest. So wherever you're weak, the rings are going to go there, and you have to create strength to fight it. So when I'm doing the RTO hold, if the rings want to go here, I like to pull my arms back and retract my scapula, because then I'm creating more strength rather than just going where the rings want to go. And the whole reason why the RTO is such a good position to work on rather than just holding it is because it's always harder to externally rotate your arms when you're on gymnastics rings. And if it's harder, it means that when you learn it and you develop the strength, then you build a level of strength that you never had before. So whenever you practice something that's harder, you become better. So that's the first thing to work on. And as I said, all you're really doing to start with is just to push straight down. And then the second one is when you're pushing straight down, you want to turn those arms out as much as you can. And you just hold it for as long as you can. So at a beginner level, we try to get people to do it for 30 seconds. 30 seconds is like the benchmark, but up to 60 seconds is going to be really, really good and really beneficial for you. So you can do this. We actually do this in our warm-up every day. So we just do 1 set, but you could do, if you really want to learn a muscle up, 2 times a week is probably going to be enough. I wouldn't recommend doing it more than 2 times a week, doing all this stuff, because it's so demanding on the tissue. The next one that we're going to do is called the false grip. And the false grip is the missing link for a lot of people when they do muscle ups. So I've just got to play around. I'm going to see exactly what height I need these at. Normally I use the rings at the back because they go right up to the roof at a 4.5 meter height, but that doesn't matter. We can do it here. So the way you do a false grip is if the rings are sitting this way, which they normally would, I'm going to reach through the inside, grab the rings on the other side, the opposite side from me, and then I'm going to turn inward towards my body. So that what I'm doing here is as I rotate the rings down and pull my elbows in, the pressure is going on that part of my wrist that I chalked before. So on that part there. And The reason why you need to do a false grip is because to get over the ring, which is what a muscle up is just a transition from a pull up to a dip. If you're like this, when you pull up, you can't actually go over the ring because your hand has to get from that position to that position. So when you're in a false grip, you pull up like this, and then all that has to happen is the hand's already in the correct position and your body just comes over the top of it like that. So what we want at the basic level for a false grip hold, you want to go from here, elbows in, and hold it against your chest, shoulders depressed and retracted, and you want to develop that for 30 seconds. So pulling it against your body, elbows in, right down so that your hands and the rings are touching your chest, and depression and retraction in the scapula. So that's the false grip hold. At the more advanced level, sorry, before I go down, at the more advanced level, you actually need to be able to do a false grip hold with an L-sit, okay? That's a lot harder. So when you're at the full extension like that and with your legs out in front, that's it's harder to hold the false grip like that. So when you externally rotate it, but that's where a muscle up starts from. A muscle up starts just like a pull up, it starts from the bottom. So you have to develop that false grip from down there. And it's funnily enough, it's actually harder doing it that way. So you need to develop the strength here and the strength there. And also the reason why you do it with your legs out in front like that is that when you do a muscle up, as you pull to the rings, you put your legs out in front to counterbalance you, because as your legs go out in front, your body has to come back and it makes room for you to go over the rings like that. So that's the next important part. And then the last skill that we're going to work on today, or that I'm going to teach you, is the transition, the false grip transition. So from here, so we've developed our RTO hold, which is what the top of the muscle up's going to be. So when you push up like that, we've developed our false grip, and now we're going to develop the transition. And for the transition, we actually have to create instability. Now guys, if you've just tuned in, please leave a comment. Let me know where you're watching from. Let me know what your name is so that I can say hi to you. And hit the like button, please. Hit that like button. Show us a little bit of love. So from here, just by having this dowel rod on the ground, this actually creates a hell of a lot of instability for me. And what I'm going to do, this is still a little bit too high. Okay, so I'm real OCD with my rings. They have to be at the same height. If they're not the same height, I'll wig out because I start thinking about how one side of my body is going to be getting more developed than the other. Okay, so from here, this is a good height for me now. I've got the rings against my shoulder here. My feet are on the dowel rod, so I can't put a lot of pressure in the ground. And then from here, I'm going to transition back like this into the false grip hold, and then transition forward. Okay, transition back into the false grip hold, and then transition forward. You want your feet in front of you for the same reason that I just said before about having your legs like this, okay? Now, when you do this, this is the biggest mistake people make. When people do this, as they go back, they go down like this. So I'll show you. We see this all the time with beginners. They go like that, and then they go like that. And you're not trying to go up and down here. It's critical that you understand this. Pay very, very close attention to what I'm saying here. What you're trying to do is develop strength of going from a false grip to a dip. And you watch how the rings stay in exactly the same spot in relation to my shoulder. So watch, it's right next to my shoulder, right next to my shoulder, right next to my shoulder, right next to my shoulder. Because that's what you need to be able to do for a muscle up. For a muscle up, when you come from here, you need to be able to pull to there, rotate, and then push to there like that. So those are the three skills that if you master those three skills, then you're absolutely going to be able to do a muscle up, as long as you can obviously do pull-ups. So let's go inside. I'm going to answer any questions that any of you guys have, and we're going to talk a little bit more about the biggest mistakes people make with this stuff and with their strength training programs in general. So basically, Awesome. Looks like we've got a lot of engagement here. That's great. If anyone's just tuned in, say hi in the comments. Let me know where you're watching from, and any questions about advanced shoulder conditioning or about gymnastics rings or anything like that, let me know, and I'll answer them for you. So the biggest mistake people make when doing upper body strength training programs is they don't train agonist and antagonist in a balanced way. So they favour one movement. They favour either pushing or pulling or whatever it is that they're doing. And that is, honestly, it's the biggest mistake people make. You must have a balance, a 1-to-1 ratio of pushing and pulling. So horizontal pushing, horizontal pulling, vertical pushing, vertical pulling. And that's exactly what our Muscle Up Masterclass does. So even though we're working muscle ups, we're still developing pushing strength as well. And when you get this wrong, you develop massive imbalances, real problems. There's a lot, you can see a lot of it in the, in at least gyms back when Yanni and I were in gyms before we opened Unity Gym. You see a lot of guys that have really horrible forward rounded posture because they really favor the mirror muscles, the muscles that they can see in the mirror, and they're all internal rotators of the shoulder. So rather than thinking of how do I train the shoulder for symmetry and structural balance, they think of how do I train for what looks good in the mirror, which is what they see of themselves. It's the truth. This is where a lot of people that don't understand training, why they develop that horrendous posture. So that's the biggest mistake. It's really, really important that you understand that. So let's have a look at the questions here, what we've got. Okay. Hey, Josiah from America, tuning in. Thanks, brother. Thanks for the love. Thanks for popping up. Hey, Carl. How are you, man? You guys are all from America. It's awesome. We've got heaps of guys in America tuning in. I love it. Hey, Karina. How are you today? And, okay, so let's have a look. So, Gregory, if you're still here, brother, you're saying you don't need help with the rings, need to figure out weakness and imbalance in a pectoral and scapular issue. So what is it, man? What's the pectoral and scapular issue? Tell me, so that I can help you out here. And when you say you don't need help with the rings, so I'm guessing you can already do muscle ups, all those skills that I just showed, is that something that you can already do? Please let me know. Hit it up in the comments here. If anyone else has got any questions, please put them out, because that's what this is all about. It's about interaction, so that I can talk to you guys. I'm going to have a look at the questions that we've had in the last 24 hours now, because I've only got one question there in the comments. So first, I'm going to give a shout out to Robert Burwell from the Shoulder Rehab, the Advanced Bulletproof Workout. He's saying, how can I get a program from you and Yanni? Robert, this is it, brother. You get the Muscle Up Masterclass if you want an upper body program. That also has phase 1 of our UMS online coaching program in it as well. So you're going to get honestly, the best program that we have ever seen on the internet. And so do all the people that have written our 5-star Google reviews. We've got more than 100 of them now. I've never seen a better program than this, than what we do. If I had, then we would change what we do to accommodate that. So get amongst it, man. It's only $79 for the next 3 days, for 72 hours, and it's just a ton of value. It's a total of $544 worth of our program, so I highly recommend that you get that one if you want to get started with it with us. Hey, Ferris from Toronto. Quack, have I tried handstands on the rings? No, I have not, brother. I'm still, I'll be honest, I'm still mastering a handstand on the ground. So I am at about 20 to 30 seconds of a handstand, and it's not in my goals at the moment, man. One thing that I've learned, we always talk about progressive overload, and that's one of the biggest things that I've spoken to you guys about this week. And how old are you, Quack, by the way? Can you let me know how old you are in the comments, please? I'm 41 now, and the way that I train is so different to the way that I trained when I was in my 20s. When I was in my 20s, I was constantly trying the next thing, and all I wanted to do was the biggest skills. And I made the most massive mistakes of my life in my training, which is I would look at, because I did Kung Fu back then, so I was doing martial arts, and I used to look at the skills that Jet Li and Jackie Chan were doing, and I was trying to replicate what those guys were doing. And it gave me a real ferocity to want to get better. But man, did I do things the wrong way. I just didn't understand the steps required to get to these skills. And I would just try mimicking the end result. And doing a handstand on the rings, fuck man, there's a lot of work that goes into that. And hats off to you if you can do it. But it's for me, it's beyond what I want to be working on now. I've got other things that I want to work on that are far more within my circle. You know, have you seen that Zorro movie with Anthony? What's his name, Yanni? Can you chime in here? Anthony Hopkins. Yep, and Antonio Banderas. There's such a good concept in that movie where he talks about training within his circle and how his circle, as he gets better, expands. And the same thing happens with movement skills, man. Like, you got to train within your circle, and as your circle expands, you start, bringing in new skills and stuff. But you have to identify where your circle is based on your skill level. And if there's something outside of your circle, then don't go near it. And for me, a handstand on the rings is outside my circle right now. So I'm focusing on some other really cool stuff that's going to make me really good with a very low risk of injury. So I hope that helps, bro. Can I see here? Quack, you're 33. Awesome. Yeah, cool, man. Yeah, man, look, even in the last 8 years, the way that I train has really evolved. Hindsight's a wonderful thing, but I'll put this to you. Think of what you were doing when you were 25 and how different you are now and how you look at skills differently. The same thing will happen to you in the next 8 years. It's just, I don't mean to sound patronizing at all or like an old man, but it's just what happens. You know, as we get older, we reflect back on things and we change the way we do things. And yeah, man. That's why I'm not doing handstands on the rings. Josiah, who else have we got here? So Josiah is saying, is external rotation work the only thing you need to achieve complete shoulder stability and prevent shoulder injuries? Absolutely not. Absolutely not. Have you, Josiah, can you just sing out in the comments here? Have you watched every episode this week? Please let me know. Put a comment straight away as to whether you have or haven't watched every episode that we've done this week. But there is so much to prevent shoulder injuries. Man, there is so much that goes on to prevent shoulder injuries. In a nutshell, this is my opinion. My opinion, don't take this to the bank. This is my opinion, what's worked for me and what's worked for the people that I've trained. In a nutshell, you need to create mobility in the thoracic spine and in the shoulders. And that means you need to create shoulder flexion, you need to create external and internal mobility, horizontal abduction, shoulder extension. Those are the main, and thoracic extension, okay? Those are the main areas of flexibility that you need to develop. Then you also need, scapular flexibility. So you need to be able to protract, retract, elevate, depress, externally and internally rotate the scapula as well with really good mobility. Then from there, you need to strengthen the rotator cuff in all of its movements. Most of the, as far as the rotator cuff goes, the internal rotation is usually taken care of just by the prime movements that we do, because the internal rotators are mostly the pecs, the lats, and the biceps, and they're the main internal rotators. The subscapularis also plays a role in it, but just by doing bench pressing and pull-ups and stuff like that, that does take care of the internal rotators. And because we do so much work that trains the internal rotators, you don't unless you've had an injury, we don't generally program internal rotation in our programs. External rotation, totally different. We definitely train external rotation and also abduction. So the supraspinatus. Then you've got scapular control, and you have to train the lower traps, the rhomboids, also the upper traps to a lesser degree. And there's a whole lot of stuff that we do for scapular stabilization. So shoulder conditioning is a beast of a thing, and it's something that I believe most people don't give enough attention to, and that's why we did this whole series this week. It's really, really, really important to understand how to do it. Sorry guys, I've got a really itchy nose here. Someone must be talking about me. So Karina is saying, hope that answers your question. If you need any more clarity on that, brother, put a little comment in there and I'll answer for you. Karina, is a handstand press from a straddle outside your goals or circle? So you mean, I think you're talking about a stalder press, which is where you're on the ground and you push your hands down and you lift your legs up. That's called a stalder press, and then you go up into a press to handstand. And please sing out to me, Karina, in the comments. Let me know if that is what you mean. And if that's the case, yes and no. I had that goal about 3 or 4 years ago. That's what I wanted to do. But then you have to reverse engineer the goal, because I've been training for long enough now. I've been a coach for long enough that I understand how to reverse engineer goals and break it down into steps. And the first thing you have to do is to develop a press to handstand. I've ticked that box. I can do a press to handstand now. So now I'm taking my training further with that, which involves massive amounts of compression strength, so the ability to compress your legs and chest together without using any external force, so just controlling with strength. Yep, I thought that's what you meant. And also pressing strength to be able to lift off the ground. So it's not outside of my realm of practice, outside of my circle right now. I am working on it, but I'm working on lower progressions for it. My biggest problem for me, and this is without a doubt the biggest long-running problem that I've got in my body, because I've got issues in my lower back, something called spondylolisthesis and a pars defect that causes my L4, L5, that's the front of my body, that's the back of my body. L4 sits like that, which causes my spine to sit in extension, which causes all of the extensors in my back to tighten up, which causes my abs to be underactive, causes my hip flexors to be tight, and it creates a whole bunch of problems. And I'm constantly working to fix that. And so unfortunately, compression strength for me is a very, very, very hard thing to develop. So the fact that I can even do a good press to handstand is a massive achievement for me. And this is why I say to people, when people say, oh, I've got this issue and I've got that issue and I'm never going to get better, I say, so what? Work on it. Be the best that you can be. Like, don't let your issues stop you. I mean, there's that guy, I don't even know what his name is, but there's this guy, you can see him on YouTube. If you go to YouTube and search for breakdancer with polio, there's this, I'm pretty sure he's an African-American guy. Maybe he's not from America, but he's definitely African heritage. He's got very dark African features, but he's got polio, and which means that he can't walk properly. And polio is a disease that attacks the central, look, I don't know exactly what polio is, but what I do know the results of it is that you lose muscle, you get muscle atrophy in your lower body, and you can't walk properly, and eventually you lose control of your legs. And this guy's one of the best breakdancers in the world. And when you see the stuff that he's doing stuff that no one else in the world can do, because he was forced to rely on his upper body. And he literally, it's one of the most impressive things I've ever seen. On his fingers, in a full planche position, he does push-ups in the middle of breakdancing routines. Not in a workout, like in the middle of a breakdancing routine. It's insane what this guy does. So, yeah, going back to it, I absolutely am working on a straddle press, and it's something that I guaranteed I will achieve it one day, but I have to work on it like a mofo. I have to work on it very, very hard to get any good results. So keep your eye out. Watch me, Karina, because I'm going to do it. Any other questions? Please sing out. I'm going to move into the questions from emails, or Yanni, if you're still watching, tune in and let me know if there's anything you want me to say here. So, Ferrographic is giving us some claps and stars and some flames and some muscles. Thanks, brother. I know you're on the show here, and thank you for tuning in and for all the love. And ICOS 970 or Lycos 970 is saying on the shoulder rehab advanced bulletproof workout video, goddamn, thank you so much. You guys are awesome. I wish you were in my city. I'd join in a second. Thank you for the love. We love to hear that. But man, jump on our online coaching. It's unbelievable. We've got people all around the world that are raving about how good it is. So if you want to do training with us, you're going to get access to Yanni and me, unlimited access through the private Facebook group for online coaching. Shoulder rehab beginner bulletproof workout. Andrew Ramsey is saying, thanks for this video. It sounds like I had a similar injury to the one you described. My right shoulder was lifting a lot higher than the left, and I had no control over it. I'm now about a year in, and finally I think I answered this question yesterday. I'm now about a year in and finally starting to get some range of motion. These exercises are exactly what I'm looking for. Sorry, I think I answered that one yesterday, brother. And we've got one more. We've got an email, via email, from Sarah Neri. Hi, Arnie, do you have an article regarding injury to legs due to incorrect posture, overdoing it, lifting weights, running, etc.? She has really painful shin splints. I'm guessing you're talking about a loved one here, Sarah, as she started overdoing it and lifting, etc., when she wasn't in good enough shape to do so. I'm concerned her form when exercising isn't what it should be. Also, her gym is in her house, so she's not getting any professional guidance, as she feels she can do it herself. She doesn't have extra money to spend on a trainer right now, which influences this. I'd really like to be able to send her an article to understand how debilitating what she's doing can be and the ramifications of not letting it heal properly. She was meant to drive 10 hours somewhere recently but cancelled the trip because she realized her legs were too painful to be able to make that journey. I'm concerned she's not going to let the shin splints heal properly and she'll have constant issues. Many thanks. So Sarah, clearly you're talking about a loved one here, and I am going to say, unfortunately you can lead a horse to water but only the horse can drink it. And some of the best advice that I was ever given a long time ago, I was the classic person in my 20s that was trying to help anyone but helping no one, just because I was fighting the wrong battles. And you try to help these people that you love, and they don't take your advice, and you just feel so devastated because you feel like you know exactly what to do for them. And the best advice that I was given, that I've learned to live my life like this, and now I'm helping people all over the world, is live the life that you want somebody else to live, and watch them gradually come to where you are. Because they're going to do one of two things. If you start living the dream life, and so let's talk about health and fitness. If you start prioritizing health and fitness the way you want somebody else to do it, which means in your case, you want them to train smart, not hard. So you start doing that, and for the first probably 12 to 24 months, they won't pay much attention to you because you won't achieve anything groundbreaking in 12 to 24 months. But soon enough you will. Soon enough your body will start really changing, and the things that you're doing will really people will start noticing. And when that happens, they're either going to do one of two things. They're either going to reject the information that you have and say, oh, that's just rubbish, which is just total baloney, which comes from an ego-driven place. They basically don't want to admit that you're right and they're wrong. Or they're going to start asking you questions. And they'll start saying, man, I got shin splints all the time when I do that exercise. How do you do it? And now you're in a position to influence them, because now they'll start to listen to what you have to say. And I can tell you right now, that's exactly what's happening with Yanni and me. If you go back, 4 years ago, we were putting content out, but nobody was listening to us because we hadn't achieved anything great. We hadn't created anything amazing at that time. The foundation movement system, as it was known back then, was in such its stages of infancy, and no one was paying attention to us. We didn't have any skin in the game. We hadn't been doing it for long enough. We didn't have any reviews of people around the world saying how good it is. And here we are 4 years later, we get inundated with emails every day. We've got this, you guys, our great audience that are watching us and asking us these amazing questions. And it all comes from this concept that we've basically just decided to live the life that we want other people to live, so that people start asking us questions and then we can help them, rather than trying to, which is what we were doing years ago. We were just telling people how they should live their lives and no one was listening, because it's the wrong approach. So that's the biggest piece of advice that I can give you. Because if you've got a loved one that's lifting with bad technique and you're afraid that they're going to injure themselves if they keep going, chances are they are. But any parent can tell you, you can't tell your kids what to do. You can only show them. You can only lead by example, and they'll copy what you do. And anyone in your life will be the same. Anyone that cares about you enough and that cares about the results that they want enough will start to see the example that you're living and start to ask the right questions. So I hope that helps. Josiah is saying, I do push-ups, dips, pull-ups, rows, hinge rows, wall handstands. I go full range of motion and engage the scapula. What type of scapular movements am I missing and should add into my training? So everything that you've said there is awesome, brother, and you've got a follow-up comment here. I watched your videos on shoulder rehabilitation, but I'm talking about shoulder prehabilitation, and there's a lot of exercise in those videos. Which do you think are the most essential? Brother, it's so the first thing I'll notice is that you have no, let me have a look. You have no straight arm strength in those workouts. The only straight arm scapular strength that you've got there is wall handstands, and that is the biggest thing that you're going to get the greatest results from. It's one of the key differences about gymnastics and why gymnasts have such amazing strength in their upper bodies. It's due to the straight arm scapular strength that they do. And so that means it's exercises that involve keeping the elbows locked straight at all times and training the muscles that connect to the scapula. And there's a whole world of different exercises that you can do out there. But the end goal movements that are at the highest level of straight arm scapular strength are things like the planche, the front lever, and the back lever. They're like the big main ones. But also the manna as well, or the V-sit, straight arm strength movements as well. So that's what you need to be including in your program, and you're going to need to do a lot of research on that. But to get you started, absolutely follow this program that we've got. And to say that there's a lot of exercises in there, there is, man. There's a lot in there. But I've laid it out for you in a progressive path. I haven't said, here's 15 exercises, choose the ones you want to do. I've said, start with this program, do that for 6 weeks, then move to this program, do that for 6 weeks. If you follow that course of action that I've laid out there, you will achieve some amazing strength and structural balance that you've never had before in your shoulders. I guarantee it. And there's so much more that we go so much deeper into it in the UMS online coaching program. And again, if you really want to see the way that we do things, you can get the Muscle Up Masterclass today. And I guarantee you, man, to look at the stuff that you've got there. There's like you've got the gist of it. You've got the right idea. You're doing push and pull, and you've got. So you're doing push-ups and dips. That's considered a horizontal push and a vertical push. Even though the dips is pushing down, it's still considered a vertical push pattern. You're doing pull-ups and rows, which is a vertical pull and a horizontal pull, which is good. You're doing hinge rows. You're talking about hinge rows, the ones that I did yesterday on the gymnastics rings. That's a really good movement for training scapula, but it is still considered a bent arm movement. So you've got the right idea, man. There's some really good stuff in there, and you've got some good balance, but it is also missing a hell of a lot of really good stuff in there. So there's two options you can do. You can either absolutely follow the programs that I've taught you guys this week, or jump on, grab the Muscle Up Masterclass, get the first 6 weeks of our UMS online coaching program included with it, and you'll learn all about straight arm scapular strength. It'll teach you. Okay, quack. I've seen some people go inverted, like skin the cat on the rings, and then the shoulders rotate right around. Is this possible to train for, or is it that certain people and their shoulder flexibility? So there are definitely certain people that have more flexible shoulders than others. And what you've got to think of is this. Natural flexibility comes at the cost of natural strength. You will almost never, in my experience, I've never seen someone who's naturally really, really flexible and naturally really, really strong. It's usually people are naturally really, really strong and they're not really, really flexible, or they're really, really flexible and not really, really strong. I'm someone who's naturally more strong than I am flexible. And so basic strength training movements, I'm able to exert more force than what most people can, the average person, like as a beginner. But flexibility has been a real journey for me. I've had to work very, very hard at it to get a mediocre result. So, so you've seen people go inverted, like in Skin the Cat on the rings. Oh yeah, I know what you mean. So they go with the reverse Skin the Cat and they get into a German hang, but then they go all the way through so their arms are almost above their head. Yeah, I think that most of the people that I've seen do that, I think naturally are more flexible than others and have a little bit of double joints going on, quack. But at the same time, I can't tell you that because I've never worked on it myself. I've never... I've got a pretty good German hang. I'm more flexible than most people like that, and I can definitely say that my shoulder flexibility has improved phenomenally from the work that I've done. It wasn't good when I started, so everyone can improve for sure. 20 is saying, Scott here in Chatswood at the moment, brother. we'll be down next week to do so. Might pop in for a session. Awesome, brother. Just let me know in advance. Send me an email, rad@unitygym.com. Let me know when you want to come so I'll make sure that we've got some space for you. And Josiah is saying, thanks, appreciate it. Have a good night. If it's nighttime in Australia, you're welcome, brother. I really hope that I helped you out. And that's it, guys. That's all we've got time for. So the last thing I'm going to say, I'm going to give this one more shameless plug. If you guys haven't got any of our programs yet, or if you want to get the most comprehensive program to develop upper body strength and the muscle up and all over upper body strength, then the Muscle Up Masterclass is a must-have. It includes lifetime access to the Movement Mastermind, which is where we do our online coaching for members. For anyone that's bought our programs, it includes the ultimate warm-up routine. It includes our intermittent fasting nutrition program. It also includes phase 1 of the UMS online coaching program. That's our full program, 6 days a week of training that we're getting so many rave reviews from people around the world. If you haven't got it yet, guys, jump on, get it. You've only got 72 hours to get it at the amazing discounted rate of 85% off, 85% discount. I really hope you guys get on it and hope to see you in our online tribe soon. Until then, until next week, I should say, I hope you got something out of this week. Next week's going to be a whole nother topic of conversation. Haven't actually figured out what we're going to talk about next week, so leave us some comments. Let us know what you guys want us to talk about next week, and we will go through there. I think what we're going to be talking about is a broad topic of how to create the body that you want, how to achieve the body of your dreams, which is something that eludes so many people. So that's what Richard and I were saying we were going to talk about. Give us some feedback. Let us know if that's something that would interest you guys, or if you want us to talk about something else. And Firas is saying, can we move to Toronto? And Kwok saying, thanks, brother. You are welcome, brother. Thanks for tuning in, as always. Thanks for the love. Keep nailing that pancake, and I will see you all next week. Have a wonderful weekend. See you soon.
Health is about performance, not just body image.
You better be willing to accept what you're going to have to do to get there.
We'll start focusing on movement goals, strength goals, flexibility goals.
When you nail that skill, it's there forever.
The body image goal doesn't get you that far.
It's the consistency and frequency that's going to get you there. It's not the intensity.
There's no shortcuts to mastery and movement. Destination doesn't change overnight, but your direction will.
The gym is not the place to beat up the body that you hate. It's the place to build the body that you love.
We are the gym that teaches people how to move instead of just exercise, because we believe that health is about performance, not just body image.